Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another Scrap Your Scraps Thursday night. Tonight, I'm not actually scrapping scraps. I've decided I'm going to take a minute, and I picked up some really pretty paper in the 2023 line from Prima, and I'm so excited to play with it. So I'm going to just let you play along with me. So I had a vague idea, and the paper is actually what started everything off. So let me just move everything to the side for a second and talk a little bit about this paper. So the sides of this paper that I'm using, oops, there's a couple more of those, are these two sides. So I have the arched flowers, and the other side is not this side, is the plainer side. There we go. So those are the two sides that I'm using for this layout. And what sparked me on this layout was the arches here. Prima had some flowers. I already sort of bent them in a direction. Prima had some flowers that sort of emulated this is going to go on that page, emulated the ideas of this arch. So I'm not actually going to show these flowers because they're kind of going to disappear when I glue everything down, but I've got a random smattering of flowers here that I've sort of laid out in my brain, and I'll walk you through it, and for both pages. So the first thing I have to do is, this is actually, it came with the rub-on pack. So this is the rub-on pack here. I'll show it to you. It's got quite a number of pages of rub-ons in it, and I've just taken as 3 sheets of rub-ons, and this was kind of like, I guess they intended you to use this as the rub-on tool, but I'm using it actually in my layout, and I'm going to change the color of it with some distress stain picket fence, so that's going to be done. And then I'm also doing some snowfall grit paste on this and a couple other things. I don't know which things at the moment because, you know, a lot of stuff comes out of my brain as I get things put down. The other thing that I decided is I'm going to do everything in 3x4s, so all the photos are 3x4s. I'm going to have 2 horizontal 3x4s here, and the rest are going to be verticals on the other page. So I'll go over that as we get to it. So first of all, I'm going to start with doing some of my mixed media stuff, and then we will move into the layout itself. Okay, so as I said, the mixed media is going to be on this brown piece of wood. It's kind of cool. And I am going to play with my picket fence spray, and hopefully it still sprays. I haven't used it in a while. So I'm on a media mat, and I also want to protect the stuff around my mat. So I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of paper here, and I'm just going to kind of spray using that as my backdrop. And in addition to that, I'm going to grab a piece of paper towel from my unfinished paper towel mess, and I need a water bottle, a spray bottle, just in case I need to wipe things up. So there's all our tools for doing this part of the project. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, I don't care if it's a little bent up, but I'm trying to just take off any little bits of wood that might come back and get into my paint job. So again, just making sure it's shaken up. And I'm literally, this is what I was afraid of. Okay, so what we can do instead is take the lid off, and I'm just going to apply it And I'm just going to literally smear it all over. And if you want to get down closer to see what I'm doing, here we go. Got a lot of lights on here, folks. Let me take that down a notch so you can see a little better. And I'm just like rubbing it all over the top. So it's kind of looking distressed. Trying to get it to the edges. So I'm just trying to spread it out a little more evenly. Okay, I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm going to dry this. And I'll give it a couple of coats. And the nice thing about the wood is it kind of sucks in the ink for the ink, and kind of splays it out a little so you don't get any harsh lines. Let me show you what I got here so far. It's a little bit hot. So it's just kind of made it a little bit more sort of organic. Just want to make sure that that's mostly dry. I'm going to do a little at the top here. And then I'm going to put another layer on it. And we'll see what happens with the second layer. And this time I'm going to do the same thing, trying to keep it as flat as I can, but I'm not necessarily going to cover every little bit. There we go. Maybe put a little more there. And dry it again. So this is my second coat going on now. It's starting to look like old paint because it's kind of cracking a little bit as I dry it, but not too much. I don't want it to be a crackle thing. I want it to be that you can see there's a little bit of crackle happening in the thicker parts of the paint. So I'm just going to put that aside for a minute. I got lots of yuckies on my mat here from when I opened up the bottle. So I'm going to pick that up. Get that out of the way. Here we go. Now, I want to do the sides, and I'm going to do the sides. Oh, crumb. It's very messy. Don't need to take that off. I'm going to load up my mat with some ink. Okay. And I'm literally going to take it and just drag it through that, because I'm not really concerned about how the edges really turn out, because you're not going to really see those. So I'm just taking all that ink and trying to get it into a bit more. There we go. So I'm just going to lay that down, and I notice I put a fingerprint in there because it wasn't completely dry. And I got a little bit of ink bubbling up on the edges there, so I'm just going to smooth that out with my finger. Okay, now I'm going to wipe these off. Got a lot of ink happening here, so before I put any water in it, I'm going to pull that up on my napkin. This is water reactive, this napkin, so when I go to play with it later, I know that it's all water reactive color, so I can play around and make some interesting combinations with it. Okay. Now, I'm going to put the lid on that because I don't think I'm going to go any further. I'm just going to dry it off. And I'm going to put the grit paste on it after I get the title on. There's going to be a title living on here, hopefully. Okay, that's good enough for now. I'll try and take a little bit of that. Smush it around the edges. There we go. I'm just going to put that to the side. Do a final cleanup here of my fingers as well. Because you don't want anything left over when you're working with your paper. So I have another. I keep half-used paper towels all the time. Okay. They're great for collecting color. All right, so we're going to put that away for a little bit, and now we're going to get starting to work on our actual layout. So I'm going to start with the second page first. And the second page is where I'm going to have my grid of 4x6 photos. So I need to take all my 4x6 photos, except for the horizontal ones, they'll stay there. And the other thing that I'm going to have on this page is, so we're going to have this guy, and I've got these guys. These are all my up and down ones. And what else do I have for that page? I have, this ribbon, which is Dream, and I have up at the top, I have this. I sped this part up because I realized that I was doing a lot of sorting in my brain, and I didn't want you to sit there and watch me other than to know what it is I was moving onto the two different pages. So that's why this is so quick. So let's trim this guy off. We're getting rid of the zip strip. There we go. I keep those because they come in handy for other art projects. Alrighty, now I am going to be having all of my 4x6 tiles on this page, and I am putting it about, I'm going to start it, I'm going to use some of my sticky tape, my yellow tape here. This stuff is light tack tape, and this is just going to go on the back. of all my photos so I can sort of position them where they'll be. When I stick them down, I'll be more careful about their layout. Let's see, I am going to say that I'm going to start my first one there. So this is, let's see how many inches. I'm eyeballing, but I will give you measurements if you need measurements. So this is going to be about 1.25 inches from the bottom. So we're going about there from the bottom, and about, not very much from the side. So maybe 1/4 inch from the side. So 1.25 inches from the bottom and 1/4 inch from the side. Something like that. Okay, so there's our first one. And then we're going to be putting the same distance, about 1/4 inch in between the two photos and 1/4 inch at the side again. And 1/4 inch between the photos. This feels not the right size. For my but it is. Okay. So that might be too small. Okay. And these are just placeholders. So we've got 6 photos on this side. Upside down. All right, and because I don't have my photos yet for this page, I make sure that anything that I stick down, if it's going over top of a photo, I'll only adhere it on the side that's sticking to the paper. Now, one thing that I am putting on here, first I think I want to put my flowers down. So my flowers are going to go sort of over the corner of this photo, and I think I might be too low with the photos. Nah, I think that'll be okay. I'll just make sure I pick the right photos. So I'm going to have flowers along the bottom here. Give you some more light. There you go. Lighting is always a challenge. There we go. Alrighty. So this, like I said, is just sort of positioned there to hold a space so I can plan around it. Alright, so there's where one of my flowers is going to go. I am going to be putting this flower in the corner, and I don't want there to be any leaves going off the edge, because as we know, the closer you get to the corner, the more difficult it is to put in a protector. And I'm going to put that guy maybe a little more this way. And this little guy is going to get tucked in there too. And then I'm going to have this neat lighting come across the page. And I want it to go up at the top where the page is, But I think I want to tuck that flower a little bit more like that because it covers that corner that ends up stopping in the middle of nowhere. And then I got a couple of butterflies. I want to put a butterfly here. And my dream is going to go at the bottom. That's a bit tight. So let's move these guys up and then I'll tell you a measurement. Just need a little more space. It's great to draw it, but until you actually get it in front of you, you don't know what you're doing. That gives me a little more space. There we go. Alrighty, that goes there, like that. And this has more space to breathe. And then this is going to get tucked under the photos like that. And I have a little, it's actually a little butterfly. And for some reason, I can't find it. It's not on here either. Could be still in the packaging. Oh, there it is. So this little guy is going to go inside that little guy like that. All right. So now it's time to stick things down. So you got a couple of options. First of all, I'm going to do my what do you call them? Rub-ons first. Oh, it's got a bit of crystal in there. That's not good. So it's going to go sort of eyeballing it and trying to keep it sort of even. Whoops, more crystal there. There we go. Alrighty. And I'm just going to use my tool. I have a couple of different tools that you can use for rub-ons. One is this bone folder. Another is this. This is specifically for rub-ons. So it's two-ended. It's got a ball on one side, which is really good to make sure you have things stuck down. You can also do this with the rubbing thing, but I like this tool because it actually, as you're pulling off the rub-on, you can just keep rubbing to make sure that nothing comes off with the plastic, which historically was the problem, but these are really good rub-ons actually. There we go. And there's our dream at the bottom corner. Plastic goes in the garbage, unfortunately. And this can probably be recycled. All right, so there's the first thing. Now this little guy is going to go flying up here, just sort of in that open spot. I should have not put him down, so there we go. We're going to have him around there. All right. I'm going to take my tool. And put pressure as I'm pulling off the plastic so nothing comes with it. Sorry, that was my printer. There we go. Okay. Now this guy is going to stick underneath little like that. Doesn't matter what tool I use. I'll use this one. Finding the end of it. There we go. And this little dragonfly is going to go in the center of that. There we go. Whoops. And you have to be careful when you're putting one over top of the other. You still have to rub to make sure they both stay down. There we go. Alrighty. So there's my little piece there. Now this big guy, well, let's do these guys up here. I'm going to turn this upside down so I can see it. And I want it to kind of go to the edge of the page. And I play with my flowers to mark it off after the fact. Okay. All right, hold your breath for this one. Kind of eyeball, oh, it's down now. Should have eyeballed it before. Alrighty, rub it down nicely. Make sure I've gone over all the parts. Oh, that was not good. Alrighty, and take my roly tool. I'm right in the fold as it rolls up. And it helps me keep everything on the page that's supposed to stay on the page. That little boo-boo there. There we go. And that's a recycling bit. Okay. Now, sticking down our flowers. The thing I find that works the best is glue dots. I haven't found anything that are any better. I'm going to bring out the small and the medium. I rarely use large, and I only use microscopic or micro when I'm putting gems and stuff on. So we're going to start with the big ones. And you just kind of roll them out, and they're on these little plastic papers. And I usually just go down the spine. At least to begin with, and then I can figure out if I need to do any more, because you want to fluff up your flowers too. I could probably put one there, and I want smaller ones in this region and where the coils are. You just rub it, and hopefully they are going to pull off for you. Depends how old they are. They are very staticky, so you can find yourself getting frustrated with them sticking to you and on the bottom of your socks after you've done some work with them. And all you really want is enough to make sure it stays on the page. That's all. Okay. So this is going to tuck, make sure that actually is going to end up on my photo, which I don't have yet. So I'm just going to move that over there. And now that should be fine. There we go. And then you just press it down for now, and then we can flip up the flower petals and open it up a little bit more. Especially if you're doing this and using it for like a 3D frame or something. You want to make sure things are popped up. In an actual album, it wouldn't work as easily. Okay, so now I'm working up in this area. I want to get my first flower stuck down. I'm going to use my medium dots for this. These are three-dimensional, so I don't need 3D dots. Just want to make sure I rub it off really well. One will do it. And as I said, I want to avoid having leaves sticking off the page. There we go. There's our first one. I have to make sure the little blue one kind of tucks in and covers. Okay. So I'll get another medium dot for this. And before I stick it down, make sure that it's going to do the job. Okay. And then we have our gray piece that can go on this edge. And again, if you're doing a 3D project, you're going to want to puff up all the flower parts. There we go. Some of the crystals have come off, so I'm just shaking the crystals off. And I think that that is it. So this is it for the one side of the page. Very simple. And now we'll work on the other side of the page. So here we have, I'm going to start at the top. We have a 3x4 that's going to go sort of about, I'm going to say 1/4 of an inch from the top, kind of in the center of whatever's going on in there. Maybe just a little bit over. So kind of central to the page, and about 1/4 inch down from the top. Alrighty. And I kind of laid this out already, but we're going to have our dragonfly flying in from that side. We have a little bird that's going to go up in this side. You know what, I think he might need a little more room. I'll shift this over just a little bit. There we go, and now he has a little more room for flying. Butterfly is coming in on that side. And the big flower starts at the top, around here, just underneath these brown things, I'm thinking. And then we have a blue one that kind of goes there. And my purple one is going to go in here. And my gray one is just going to sit down here. There we go. So that is looking like I want it. This I'll put in a moment. And now, get my glue dots out of the way so you can see what I'm planning. And now, oh, guess what I forgot to do? Cut the bottom off the paper. So let's do that first. Again, this has a nice zip strip on the back of it that I will definitely hang on to for something else. So I'm just going to trim this off. There we go. Put it to the side. And do that all over again. These guys are going at the bottom. So this guy goes here, that guy goes there. This guy goes up here. Nope. The purple is better up there. And then this guy goes there. This light blue one, no, the light purple one goes in there. And then the gray one comes down here. Do I like that? I think I'll tighten it up just a little bit. There we go. I'm liking that. So let's get these guys rubbed on. Here we go. Pulling them off. Okay. There's one, and this little birdie is going to go in here. There we go. Okay. That's all the bottoms. All right. And we'll glue these down. I'm going to use some mediums on these. Now, I'm just going to stand up so I can see what I'm doing. It wants to stay open. Oh no! Oh, that was lucky. Put this on the blue, turquoisey one. Okay. There we go. All right, so that is the top side. Now, I'm going to do the bottom side before I do my 3x4 that goes in the middle. see how this will lay out. I'll worry about him in a minute. Okay, moving this into your screen. I can see it, but you need to see it too. All right, now it just goes about 1/4 of an inch down. And I think I want that leaf to almost come over to the very edge there, so we can see quite a bit of this blue. So something like that. You know what? I think this needs to go up just a little bit more. There we go. So we can see the whole picture that's there. Then we're going to put this flower here. And then this flower is going to go around here and have a little blue flower that can go in there. I think I'll just shift that up a little bit. Okay, I think that I like what I see right now. So first let me get my photo down there. There we are. Flip this over using my medium dots. Right there. And this is well coiled, but I think I'll still use a small dot for that. There we go. There we go. And just a small dot on the end there. Just pulling it off my small dots. Oh, what happened to it? It went floating through the air, and I'll probably find it attached to me at some point, but not right now. Come on. Not a lot for it to grip, so it's giving me a little bit of problems. But it's all good. Okay, so this, make sure nothing's going to stick. Yep. This is going to go here. And again, if you were going to make this a 3D project, you would pop all these flowers up to give them their full floweriness. But we're going to be using it in an album, so it's not going to need that. Looks like I have 2 extra flowers. Back to my medium dots. Whoops. All right, now this one was sort of coming out here. This one is coming about there. This one poking out around there. There we go. And you can pull these guys out, these little wires, and make them longer or shorter depending on how much of your space you want to use up. And you can twist them in different directions. I didn't really play with that on the other page. Just going to make that tight till I get my last photo in. Now down here we have our hummingbird. And he is coming in for a flower. There we go. There we are. Put the plastic pieces in the garbage. All right, and now we just have the final photo to position, and it is going to sit, let's see, that is just going to tuck under it, and I want this to come in just a little more. Like that, I think, but I have to line this up actually with my other page. So I want to see, make sure the sight lines are about the same, and they are. That's awesome. So I'm just going to tuck that under just a little bit. Oh, I forgot to put that. Stick that down. Go. This yellow tape is excellent. Okay, so I just want it touching. And this can tuck under there and under there. There we go. And now I can bring this out and let it do its thing. There we go. want to just have it look springy and viney. Maybe not too much of a curl. There we go. Now, in here we have a dragonfly. And I can't remember if he's looks like he's flying up because the other one is flying down. There we go. There we are. All right. Now, we need to work on this. So this is all stuck together. Looks great. Just want to double check the other one. I didn't pull any of these wires out. So I feel like I need to. There we go. All right. So now let's do this. Okay, so the idea was to have the word beautiful on there's crystals all stuck inside. There we go. The word beautiful on here, and it literally is just going to fit. So I have to line it up very carefully. And I also want it to look straight. And now we're just going to, whoops. And this has a bit of overhang. And there we go. Just flatten it down. So that's our beautiful piece of wood that wouldn't have probably ended up on a layout if we hadn't changed it a little. So let's get our front page. So it's going to sit somewhere in here like that. And then I have a place for the date, which is going to go right underneath. Right there. Above our hummingbird. Or actually, you know what? I think I want to change my mind and put it right in here. There we go. Wow. That came together very quickly. And this guy now can turn a little bit more and be right over top. All right, so on the back of this, again, we're going to be putting medium-sized dots. I'm going to put probably 5 just to make sure it stays. And just right down the center. That little piece of wood was awesome. Awesome to have. Just take off the glue dots. Line it up again. Stand so I can see it. There we go. Look how pretty that is. And then this guy. Actually, goes right here. A little bit closer. And there we go. Here we are. Place for our date. And all we need now is our grit paste. So I'm just going to take a little bit of grit paste. This dries translucent. And I'm just going to go along the edges, because what it's going to do is give us a little bit of sparkle there. And even though it's called Snowfall, it's textury enough. I'm going to add a little more to this side. If you got it, you might as well use it, right? And then just a little swiping. I can't see what I'm doing. A little bit of swiping of it here and there. Okay, and I'm just like making sure there's some falling over the edge a little bit. And I'll show it to you closer in a moment. There we go. And I'm just gonna wipe off my, this is water soluble to a certain point, but then, oops, should probably get that back in deeper. There we go. Alrighty. So, holding that up close so maybe you can see. There we go, that's better. so it's got some texture on it. And now that texture will not be white as you see it right now. It will be translucent. All right, so let's put the 2 pages together so you can see the full effect. Lots of materials on the desk. Whoops, just put my finger in it. Alrighty, we're going to lift it up. And there you have it. Your 2-page Prima Aquarelle layout. Dun, 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 dun. So all kinds of things making shadow over here. There you go. Beautiful. Well, thank you very much for joining me this week. I will see you next week. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video below and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.